Hi, welcome to an Easy Trader Update. This is Kim speaking on Thursday, the 11th of July. I just thought I'd do a quick session on trading through the summer, so I'll do the market update afterwards, but I just thought I'd do this session. It's very important because the dynamics of the markets tend to change somewhat, and unless you're attuned to it, if you've been trading for a few years, you may have noticed it, but let's have a quick look at the sort of things. This is what it might look like. There's no guarantees. I did actually run through the markets year over year over the same period to see if there's an absolute consistent effect. But of course in 2007, 2008 we had the financial meltdown, which really caused some bigger trends which were a bit unusual. But in the main, this is what we see. Long periods of low volatility with short periods of high volatility. So short bursts amongst quite flat markets. So it may be the news waiting on some key news, but the market can stay quite contained, and then all of a sudden it may fly up. It may even just revert back to trend afterwards, but you may get these sort of quite quick moves. Also, we tend to get, this is something that was pretty common right the way through, is we may get an up day followed by a down day followed by an up day, and so on. Or this may be sort of a couple of up days followed by a couple of down days. Whichever, I'll notice that is quite often we get into these sort of periods where it's quite difficult to tell the overall trend of the market as such. And then we get these short key trading periods. It comes around at very news focused, of course, but the key trading period where there's actually a directional move seems to be quite small relative to the rest of the time. Now, obviously, the market trends in decent, strong moves for bursts or for periods, shorter periods than it does sideways. It's chopping sideways a lot of the time, or within a small range. But these periods tend to get smaller during the summer period. We become quite news sensitive because of this, so it's sort of one feeds the other really. So news articles, they can be quite news sensitive, particularly in the current climate where there's now indecision or concerns around whether or not there are signs of growth, and very much rumour sensitive. So that rumours can cause these spikes all of a sudden. It doesn't take too much in a dull, quiet market for a rumour to come out, cause a spike, and then it's sort of overridden and it runs back to norm. So how do we trade these periods? Well, the first thing is take what it gives you. You still got to stick with your original trends, but take it when the profit's there and you've got your target set properly. Just accept what's there really, and stick with your strategies. And it may be a lot slower, but take it as it comes effectively. And this really comes to being patient. Something I find personally quite difficult at times, to be patient with some of the moves. But you really need to be pretty patient because of these sort of sideward moves, which can eventually generate the outcome that you're expecting. But it just takes so long. Particularly, I mean, if you're trading during the daytime, after 10 o'clock in the day, it's often a quietish period, but it seems to really become the doldrums themselves. Take plenty of breaks away from your monitor. There's no point sitting there watching it. You've really got to effectively it comes on to the next thing, selective with your trading periods. You may be news based, you may be just a trader that trades before you go to work or whatever, and you're looking for the good setups in the mornings. You just be selective and stick to those selective periods. Sitting in front of a screen all day long just on the case of hoping tends to lead to wanting to trade anything because there's a potential trade there, and it's very easy to get drawn into a little move. You see these sort of little fakes. The market will be moving along, and also you see a little fake, a little bigger bar that's sort of something bigger than the others with no news generated around it, just a little bit bigger bar, and people get in on these. They think, well, that's it, it's breaking, it's going now, and then it just sort of comes back and it just drifts back. Just drifts back into whatever trend. If it was in a slightly uptrend, yes, you may be okay. If it was in a downtrend, well, that fake may have just caused you or cost you some money. And it's just be very focused on your goals in terms of, or your strategies, and be selective with your trading periods. I mean, we're finding the news is trading particularly well because of the sensitivity of the different reports coming out at the moment. But this is how I suggest you trade it. So I just wanted to run through that. Let's just have a look now at the markets. It's going to be a very quick run through. I'm looking at the euro dollar here, daily chart. And one thing you may have noticed, this is a daily chart with monthly pivot sitting on it. It's actually now eventually come and hit its monthly pivot. I talked about it last week, but it looked like it was going to do it quite early on. It's pulled back and it's now done it. Now, we have got reason to continue to the downside at points today. There's short term. There's a lot of key moving averages on the shorter time frame still pointing up, and it may yet run back up. But there are also reasons to be on possibly on the short side. So it's a really indecisive market in a sense. And look at how these two bars have effectively taken around about 2/3 of that whole move. Actually, if we were to look at Fibonacci's on here, if I can just draw the fibs on there, you're probably at 618 or 786. Yeah, 618. So it's just run through the 618. So it's just gone around about 2/3 there. Let's cut that of a retrace, just all in two bars. Amazing how things can switch, isn't it? But it could, as I say, could easily just continue back down to the original trend side now that was running there. Okay, so that's euro. As I say, very, very choppy and not easy to trade after we've had these big moves. Cable's a very similar picture. It's not yet come up to its monthly pivot, and so there is still the chance that it could do that. So possibly a bit more of a draw. I mean, we had a pivot swing set up on the dailies, and it's had to follow through and possibly moved as far as it will move. It broke through the upper bands here and came just short of the 34. But there's a bunch of key MAs up there. It may just want to, over the coming days, want to drift its way back up there. If it doesn't, well, the double bottoms make good targets. So there was some slight divergence on these lows. So well, we've worked that pretty much worked that off now. But as I say, it's quite a decisive period in that sense. But again, we've retraced a good chunk of that move down there as well. That's around just over 1/3 there, probably closer to a 38% retrace actually. Just bring it down. There you go, 38% retrace of that move there. So quite a good move already. Okay, let's look at the dollar yen. Really getting closer and closer to, again, monthly pivot is below us. You would look at this and expect at some point to see this drift southward some more potentially, and just catch that pivot, that 200. It all sort of it's lining up quite nicely there. However, it's done a good retrace. It's done at least a 38% retrace by the eye there. Where are we? Yep, done the 38% retrace of the move. So it could continue on this route, heading back up north towards these prior highs. Not, as I say, with a lot of these markets are pretty indecisive for these current daily candles. They're not really giving a lot away, but hopefully at the end of the day we may get a bit better picture of where we are. But at the moment it's sort of it flew down earlier on, ran into the 21, daily 21 on the yen, and then bounced off that. And the euro yen, a bit more difficult. This one, it's got, I talked about it a short while ago, in terms of you've got a couple of up days, a couple of down days, an up day, down day, well, in doji day, down day, up day, and this is not uncommon to what we see in the summer. Now, of course, we can at some point get the break, but the problem is we also get loads of false breakouts. We had the move down here yesterday, which effectively would have trapped some people into some further shorts. But there's some clear trend lines here in terms of what's going on. It's just whether or not you've got this rising channel at the moment. If it breaks down on that level again, well, to me that makes the decision in terms of where we are for the next few days on the euro yen. If we just continue running in this ascending channel, well, it can carry on. It can run back up to the highs here. It's hit its monthly pivot. There's no draw to the downside here, but it's just as likely to remain choppy at the moment. There's the flow between the euro and the yen is pretty similar. The euro and the yen are making similar moves if you look on the daily, so it makes it less tradable for me at the moment. So I'm tending to keep away from the euro yen, stick to the dollar yen, currencies that have got a lot clearer in terms of direction. This is easier to trade when it's like this, so why spend a lot of time looking at currencies that are difficult to trade? The euro, much easier. It's been much easier to trade. Okay, it's had up days between them, but it's much easier to trade at the moment. So that's a case of sticking with the good ones. Okay, that's it for me. I hope that's helped. I'll be back on next week. I'll wish you a great week, great weekend. Bye for now.